channel Distinctive Crochet. My name is Priscilla, and what I had been waiting on finally came. If you saw my last video, you know it was a new camera. So since I got my new camera, I am ready to go ahead with my review on that Lion Brand Baby Soft Boucle. So it's this yarn here. And look guys, my camera is focusing, yay! Okay, so the specs are, it is a number 5 bulky. You get 3.5 ounces, which is 100 grams, 120 yards, which is 109 meters. The suggested needle size is a 6 millimeter, and the suggested hook size is a K or a 10.5, which is also a 6.5 excuse me, a 6.5 millimeter hook. So I will, for this review, I'm going to go ahead and use the recommended hook and see how that turns out. And then also guys, I have been working on some projects with this, so I'm going to also show you the hook size that I use with this yarn. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn my camera around so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing, and we'll get into this review. So I'll be right back. And I'm back. So I also want to mention to you guys that this is a 100% polyester yarn, and that it is available on Lion Brand's website. When I checked, the price was about $4.99. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and chain up 13. So I'm just going to see how that chains, and it goes pretty well. Okay, now we got to work back into the chain. So let me count down 3. I'm going to do some double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is the recommended hook size, which is a 6.5 millimeter hook, and it's going pretty well so far. It is a little bit fuzzy, so I got to be extra careful on where I'm putting my hook. So okay, I'm almost to the end of the row there. And the one thing I do like about these yarns is because there is so much texture to them that you don't really have to worry about an extravagant stitch. You can just use the easy, simple stitches such as like double crochet, and then your project will come out beautiful because it's the yarn that really shows out. So this is something that you want to use simple stitches on, because the yarn is what you're trying to show off and not necessarily the stitches. So I'm almost getting to the end of my row here. And guys, this yarn is very, very soft. It is called Baby Soft Boucle, and I would definitely feel comfortable with crocheting something up for a baby, whether it just be a blanket or maybe even a sweater. It's very soft, and I definitely like working with it. So there's my first row done. So now I'm going to go ahead and chain up 3. And I'm going to see if I can find those, where to put my stitches at. So I know this is my first stitch here where I chained 3. So this should be my next one. And I can see the post pretty easily. So this hook size is not too bad. Okay, let me see if I can show you guys a little closer. Yeah. Okay, so the thread is like right here, and then that's where like the top of my stitch is. So I'm gonna go in right in there. Okay. All right. So it's not too bad. I would definitely recommend working with this and some really good lighting, because it can get a little bit distracting with all the little bumps on the thread of yarn. But so far it's not too bad. I'm not struggling with it like I thought I might with this size hook. So, and like I said, this was the recommended size hook. So it's going pretty well. I am feeling it as well as seeing, trying to look for it. I'm also feeling it with my fingers, so that's helpful too. Okay, and I'm at my last stitch here. I'm just pulling at it so I can find that top. Okay, this one's a little bit harder to find. Okay. All right, so this is what it looks like so far, and I really like the texture of this and the way it looks, because even with like a double crochet and the size that it is, those bumps fill in those holes and those gaps, so it would still be something that would be very comfortable and pretty warm to wear. Okay, so that's the recommended hook size. So I think it's working out pretty well with this hook size. But guys, I did make a project already using this yarn, and I decided to go with a bigger hook size, a 9mm. So when I used this hook, the stitches were much more open, and it was easier for me to see. So I'm just going to go ahead and chain up 3 and then do a row and double crochet using this hook size, and then you guys can be able to like see the difference in the texture that it makes, as well as the ease of crocheting with a bigger hook when you're using this kind of yarn. And even if you don't pick up this particular yarn, I think most boucles are made in the same way. So if you just had some laying around and you wanted to try it, I would recommend using the bigger hook, and then starting off there. And then once you get comfortable with it, then you probably could go to the smaller hook size, like the 6.5mm. So this is this works out really nice, and I don't really I'm not really running into any problems with it. It's pretty smooth, especially when I'm doing like an easy stitch like double crochet. That's actually what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a nice smooth motion, and I'm not looking for any trouble because I want to get that project done. So I'm going to chain up 3 and do one more row so you guys can see what that stitch looks like, and then I want to show you a couple more things. So it's going pretty well, and let me just show you the top of these stitches here. So it's still kind of the same. You get that thread that kind of goes through at the top. There's focusing. Okay, so with this larger hook, it kind of makes it really easy for you to find where that's supposed to go. And then again, you can also feel it too. It's just kind of natural for me to like feel my stitches anyway, so I'm pretty used to that. Okay, so there, I have to get my top of my chain 3. Okay. All right. So let's see what that looks like. So you do get a lot more gaps. When I worked my project, I actually liked that because I was thinking of something for the spring. So I did want some airiness to it, But as you can see, this one down here is a lot more closed, so if you were thinking of a baby blanket, that would probably be a better hook size for that. But either way, it still comes out really nice, and you still get that nice texture in it from the yarn. So easy simple stitches, and you get a beautiful project with this kind of yarn. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to show you guys is I had used some similar yarn to this late in the year last year, and I made like a poncho, like an outerwear poncho with it. And what I ended up doing was I ended up using a strand of yarn and then a strand of the Boucle yarn, just to help me see the stitches a little bit better. So I'm gonna go ahead and try that and see what that looks like. So I'm just gonna pull out this last pull through 2 here so that I can connect that other yarn to go with it. And this could also give you another option as well if you're still having a little bit of trouble. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn. Grab both of those yarns, chain up 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to turn my work, and then if you're still using that bigger size hook, then it'll give you a little bit more density to your project, so it's not too light if you were thinking of something more like a blanket or something like that. And it does make it easier to find your stitches. It gives it a very unique look, as you can see. I just wanted to use the 2 contrasting colors so that it would be easier for you to see on camera. But of course you could use any color that you like for your project. And I'm not sure if I mentioned the name of this color, but this color I'm using for the Boucle yarn is the Lemonade. And I also showed a lot of other colors that I had gotten in my yarn haul. So if you haven't checked that video out, I'll leave that in the description box below where you can check that out. Okay, so I'm gonna finish off my row, and then I'll turn and do one more row so you can see what that looks like. When I pulled that center out, it kind of gave me a big pile of yarn, so it's wanting to tangle up, but we'll see if we can make it through this tutorial here, or I'm sorry, yarn review. Okay, that'll at least get me to the end of the row. Okay, and then the top of my chain 3. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and turn, chain up 3. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and keep going to the end of my row, and you can see the top there. So this brown here definitely helps you see the top of your stitch, so you'll know exactly where to go if you're using a yarn to tag along with it. And it's a very unique look. I really like this, how it's looking. I wouldn't mind using 2 different colors like this. I think it's turning out pretty nice. Oh, I lost my other strand there. Okay. Okay, so we have 2 more stitches to go. Alright, and I'm on my last chain 3. Okay, so we made it all the way across, and let's check it out. So that's what it looks like with the the double strand there, and I would definitely recommend, if you're if this is your first time working with this yarn, just to get used to it, I would recommend using the extra strand of yarn here that's just kind of plain, with a bigger hook. If you have used this before, then I would just recommend a bigger hook. And if you're more experienced, then I would say this hook size that they recommend was okay. You would just definitely need to have good lighting and feel those stitches, and just make sure you count your stitches, because it could be really easy to lose a stitch, and then that wouldn't be good for your project. So overall, I like the yarn. I like the way it looks, it feels, it's very soft. I'm pretty happy with my purchase. I would buy it again if it's on sale. $4.99 is a little bit expensive for me, but that's just me. But it is a beautiful yarn, and I do think it is worth the price, except for it's just a little bit more expensive for me. Like I said, I caught it on a really good sale, so I stock up when I can. But yeah, I really like how it turned out in this little swatch here, and it's so soft. So I would definitely recommend this this Baby Soft Boucle. Yep, I would definitely recommend this yarn here. Good for baby projects, for blankets, even good for making garments out of, I would say. So, and if you if you knit, I did do a knitted swatch. I wanted to show you guys. So if you do knit, this is my swatch here for knitting, and I wanted to show you something, guys. So this is my crochet swatch, and then this is my knit swatch. See how much that stretches, guys? That's a really good stretch. But when I went ahead and knitted this up, it wasn't too hard to see on my needles, and it's easy to pick up with your other needle to knit it. So it wasn't too bad on that end either. And I did use I think I actually used a 5mm. The recommended was 6mm needle, and I think I used a 5. But I was pretty happy with how this little swatch came out, and I thought it was really cool how it stretched very nicely. The only thing is you can't see your stitches. So this is actually a garter stitch pattern where I just knit every row back and forth, and so you can't really see that, but that's, like I said, guys, that's not really the point. The point is to show off the yarn when you buy this kind of yarn. So you don't really want to show off a stitch pattern, you want to show off the yarn. So I was really happy with my purchase, and I like it for both knit and crochet. So you guys can tell me what you think and leave it in the comments below. Would you buy this yarn? Have you bought this yarn? Have you used any kind of boucle yarn like this? Do you have any tips for others who might be new to using a yarn like this? Leave all those in the comments below. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my camera around, and then I'll end the video. So I'll see you in just a minute. Okay, and I'm back. So like I said, I really like this Baby Soft Boucle yarn by Lion Brand, and I already have some projects finished. I just need to weave in some ends, so I'll be coming to you guys pretty soon with that. I did just get a new idea for another project, so I might wait until I finish that, or I might come back to you showing you that in another video. So we'll see, but keep an eye out for that. You won't want to miss it. It's a good one, guys. Alright, but I appreciate you watching this yarn review. I hope it was helpful to you, and please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I would like to know your thoughts on this yarn and what you think about it, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks again for watching.